simple definition of grace, getting better than we deserve. And you remember from a little bit ago here, I said grace received should bring about a change. Well, it did. My attitude was so much better in English the rest of the year. And I owed Mrs. Rudy. And I was determined to let my attitude and effort reflect my gratitude. Now, I don't know if she went home and talked about that obnoxious Sadoff kid, but I did have her husband, Herr Rudy, as a German teacher the next 2 years and really enjoyed the class. So I think there was probably some forgiveness involved there too. And grace and forgiveness go hand in hand. Later, when I was a teacher, I definitely had a lot of patience and understanding for kids. I think it's fair to say that a lot of students got better than they deserved in my classroom. Grace begets grace. And I hope that today I've caused you to reflect a little bit on the nature and importance of grace. Grace is central to our faith. Philip Yancey shared a story about this that features one of my favorite authors and theologians, C.S. Lewis. There was a British conference on comparative religions, and experts from around the world gathered, and they were all debating what, if anything, was unique to the Christian faith. And they began eliminating possibilities. Incarnation, other religions had different versions of gods appearing in human form. Resurrection, well, again, the other religions had accounts of return from death in some form. And the debate went on for some time until finally C.S. Lewis wandered into the room. "What's the rumpus about?" he asked. And he heard in reply that his colleagues were discussing Christianity's unique contribution among world religions. Lewis responded, "Oh, that's easy. It's grace." Well, after some discussion, the conferees had to agree. The notion of God's love coming to us free of charge, no strings attached, seemed to go against every instinct of humanity. The Buddhist had their eightfold path. There's the Hindu doctrine of karma, the Jewish covenant, the Muslim code of law. Each of these offers a way to earn approval. Only Christianity dares to make God's love unconditional. Aware of our inbuilt resistance to grace, Jesus talked about it often. He described a world suffused with God's grace, where the sun shines on people good and bad alike, where birds gather seeds gratis, neither plowing nor harvesting to earn them, where untended wildflowers burst into bloom on the rocky hillsides. Like a visitor from a foreign country who notices what the natives overlook, Jesus saw grace everywhere. Yet he never analyzed or defined grace, and he almost never used the word. Instead, he communicated grace through a series of stories known as parables. That's what he does in Luke 15. If you want a homework assignment, keep with the teaching theme here, go read Luke 15 after the service. But he has 3 parables there in one chapter: the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the prodigal son. Now, how important is the lost sheep? Well, the shepherd leaves the 99 to go after and save the 100th. How does the widow feel about the lost coin? She tears her house apart to find it, and she calls for a celebration when she finds that coin. And we all know about the father's joy at the lost or prodigal son coming home. He has to explain to his other dutiful son that it's just like his brother coming back from the dead. Just imagine God's joy when we accept his gift of grace and make Jesus Lord of our lives. Let me close today by returning to Max Lucado for a moment, sharing his advice for how we can explore what he calls grace-shaped living. Keep close tabs on your words this week. Whenever you start to complain or grumble about someone or something, remind yourself that you're forgiven by a gracious God. Ask him to show you how to reflect his grace in that relationship or situation. Follow his leading and rejoice in a gracious attitude. Now I want to offer you a biblical blessing. May God bless you and keep you. May he be gracious to you and make his face shine upon you. May he look upon you with favor and give you his peace. Amen. Now, as the worship team comes forward for their closing song, I'd like to invite you to sing a couple of verses of Amazing Grace a cappella with me. And then after that final song from the worship band, Tate will close the service with prayer. I hope we have the words up here. We do. Okay. We're gonna test you here. We're gonna sing together. Ready? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Twas grace that brought me safe thus far.